You touch him again, and I swear to God, you'll answer to me." The rancher's voice cut through the sweltering silence, his hand hovering just above the revolver on his hip. The two bounty men froze mid-step, one of them clutching a blood-stained rope, the other sneering with dried tobacco on his lip. The young native man between them collapsed, his face caked in dirt and blood. And yet, his eyes half shut and swollen held a defiance that hadn't broken. Jack Callahan didn't know why he stepped in. He was just out for supplies, a quiet trip into the canyon trail, when he found the kid bound to a tree with buzzards circling. The men claimed they caught him stealing a horse, but there was no proof, just bruises and spit, and a body they left to rot in the sun. Jack didn't ask permission. He cut the ropes, threw the kid over his horse, and rode hard for the ranch. The neighbors whispered, helping one of them, "You'll bring trouble on all of us." Jack ignored it. He'd fought in a war, seen boys butchered for the wrong flag. This felt no different. The boy, barely 20, drank water like he hadn't seen it in days. He didn't speak a word, just nodded when Jack gave him food, and slept with one eye open like a cornered animal. Jack left the barn door cracked and a lantern burning low. No locks, no questions. But the next morning, as the sun rose red over the desert hills, a shadow swept across the land like a silent storm. They came in rows, 2, then 10, then dozens. Native riders in full regalia, faces painted with solemn precision, weapons strapped but untouched. Not a single word, not a single sound. They formed a circle around the ranch, horses pawing the dust in rhythm, and at the front, atop a paint horse, sat an elder wrapped in eagle feathers, his gaze piercing through decades of betrayal. Jack stepped onto the porch, his rifle in hand but lowered. "He's in the barn," he said, not knowing if they understood. "He's safe." The elder didn't move. He stared at Jack for what felt like a century, then slowly dismounted. He approached the rancher with deliberate calm, each footstep echoing like a drumbeat. The two men stood face to face, one weathered by sun and cattle, the other by centuries of scars carried in silence. Then the elder spoke. "You gave water to my grandson." Jack blinked. "The kid in the barn was the chief's blood." He nodded. "Couldn't leave him like that." The old man raised his hand, and with that one gesture, over 50 warriors dismounted in perfect unity, forming a semicircle around the ranch. No threat, no weapons drawn, just presence. A moment that felt like history folding in on itself. That's when the boy stepped out of the barn. He limped but stood tall, eyes clearer now. He walked past Jack, stopped in front of the chief, and knelt. The elder placed a hand on his head, then looked back at Jack. "In our way," he said. "This makes you family." Jack didn't know what to say. He wasn't trying to earn anything. He just couldn't live with letting cruelty slide. That night, they didn't leave. The tribe stayed, cooking over fires, drumming low songs under the stars. Jack's land became something sacred. Stories were shared in glances and laughter, not in language. A world apart, yet strangely whole. He learned that the boy's name was Toka, that he had been ambushed, beaten for crossing a white man's land to find medicine for his sister. Jack listened, silent, ashamed. No one asked for anything in return. But by morning, they had built a new water trough, repaired his broken fence, and left behind a single carved totem of an eagle clutching a branch. Weeks passed. Jack noticed other changes. Travelers left gifts by his fence posts. His cattle were untouched by wolves. Birds nested peacefully in the barn. Word spread through town, twisted by fear, that old rancher's in with the Indians. They'd whisper, "He'll regret it." But Jack never did. One day, a dust storm rolled in, and Jack's herd broke free. He thought he'd lose everything, but at dawn, he found every cow rounded up and corralled, each one marked with a fresh handprint of red clay. Toka was leaning on the fence, arms crossed, a half smile on his face. "Family," he said simply. It hit Jack then. He hadn't saved a life. He'd healed a fracture older than himself. One act of kindness, and the ground beneath him felt different, blessed, even When the chief returned weeks later, he handed Jack a folded cloth. Inside was a beadwork sash, hand-stitched in deep red and gold. A symbol of peace, protection, and unbreakable bond. We remember those who remember. U.S., the elder said, you gave water to one. We bring honor to all. The riders left as silently as they came. No war cry, no guns. Just the echo of hoofs on ancient soil and the whisper of redemption carried on the wind. Jack stood alone again, but not really. The land remembered, and so did he. Because sometimes the smallest kindness speaks loudest in the language of the forgotten. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.